Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to today's maths lesson. So today we are going to be looking at converting between minutes and hours and seconds. But of course, we're going to start with our do now as always. So you have some arithmetic questions there to get on with. So pause the video and come back when you're ready to mark it. Okay, hopefully you've managed to have a go at those. I'm just going to pop the answers up, so make sure you're ready to mark. So pause the video and mark your answers and come back when you're ready to continue with the rest of the lesson. Okay, hopefully those arithmetic questions are going well. Please do remember to post them to Seesaw so that your teachers can see how you're getting on. So today's lesson, as I said, we're going to be converting between hours, minutes and seconds. But before we do that, we're just going to quickly review what we were learning yesterday, which was converting 12-hour clock into the 24-hour clock. So I have popped the scale on there on the bottom to help you. Remember, if it is AM, the time does not change. We're just removing that AM. If it is PM, that's when we need to be adding 12 onto our hour, but do use the scale at the bottom there to help you. So pause the video and write down what each of these times would be in 24-hour clock. Off you go. Okay, hopefully you've managed to have a go at that and you've remembered from yesterday. Let's have a look at the answers together. So 12:15 AM would stay as 12:15, but remember we don't have AM or PM in 24-hour. 11:20 PM, so I needed to add on 12, so that should have been 23:20. 6:30 PM, again we would have to change it because it is PM, so the 6 should have become 18. My minutes are not changing. And then 9:45 AM would not change because that's AM. So well done if you've remembered that from yesterday, but do keep practicing if you're still finding it a little bit tricky. So measuring time. We use different units to measure different amounts of time. However, they do link to each other. Now, you may already know how many minutes are in an hour and how many seconds are in 1 minute. So I'm just going to give you a moment to remember in your head. Now, hopefully you've remembered that there are 60 minutes in an hour and 60 seconds in 1 minute. So we can see it's the same unit, 60. So that's going to really help us while we're converting them today. So just a little challenge there at the bottom. If there are 60 minutes in 1 hour and 60 seconds in 1 minute, how many seconds are in 1 hour? How many seconds in 1 hour? So hopefully you've had to think about that. So the calculation I would have to do is 60 times 60. So there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. Now we won't be looking at that today, but it is a little bit of a challenge if you want to do some of that in your own time as well. So I just want you to have a look at the different events on your screen. So we've got putting on a coat, a football match, the summer holidays, a flight, etc. So I want you to think, which unit of time would you use to measure these events? So we've said minutes, we have said we've got hours, seconds. What would you use to measure these? And think about why. So you might want to pause the video and have a think and come back when you're ready. Okay, so for example, putting on a coat. Now, we can do that relatively quickly. So hopefully you've probably said that would be seconds that I could time that in. Eating lunch. Probably take a little bit longer. Hopefully we don't eat it within seconds and we're probably feeling a bit sick, so that will probably be minutes that we would time that in. A television program, a little bit trickier. It depends how long it is. Some of them are usually half an hour long, so I would say that's 30 minutes, or maybe it's a longer program, so it might be an hour that you measure it in. It just depends on what the length is. Turning a page, again a very short event, so hopefully you would say seconds for that one, depending how big the page is. Football match. Lots of you, I know, like football, and usually you probably recognise they say it's 90 minutes, and usually we would probably say a minute rather than an hour, because obviously it's split into 2 halves, but we could say it's more than an hour as well. A flight, well, hopefully you would say that would be hours, because flights are generally usually quite long unless you're going a really short distance within the same country. And then the summer holidays, you might have found that you couldn't really measure that with hours or minutes or seconds, we would probably use weeks or months for that one, usually 6 weeks holiday. So we're going to be moving on to that tomorrow's lesson. Okay, so hours and minutes. So if there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, how many minutes would be in 2 hours? So there are 2 lots of 60, so 2 times 60 is 120. So how many minutes would there be in 3 hours? Hopefully you've recognised that is 180. So you may start to see the pattern now. We have 60, 120, 180. So we have our 6 times table. So now I want you to think how many minutes would be in 4 hours. What's going to be the next number in this box here? Okay, hopefully you've recognised that's 240. And then how many in 5 hours? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. So it will be 300. Okay, so if we look at minutes and seconds, it's going to be exactly the same because we can see there's 60 minutes in 1 hour and 60 seconds in 1 minute. So in 2 minutes, there will be 120 seconds. So count this with me. In 3 minutes, there will be 180. In 4 minutes, there will be 240 seconds. In 5 minutes, there will be 300, okay, and it could go on. So in 6 minutes, I'd probably have 360 seconds, okay? So I can keep following that pattern. So hopefully you're really confident on your 6 times tables because we're going to be using that lots today. You can write it down to help you as well. So I'm going to model this for you. Our first task is converting whole minutes and seconds into the other, okay? And we're also going to be looking at hours and minutes as well. So I'm just going to pop up my visualizer. I've got some examples here for you. So as you can see, I've drawn a little diagram here to help you. So when I'm doing from seconds to minutes, I need to divide by 60, and from minutes to seconds, I'm timesing by 60. So let's look at a few examples. So my first one is 3 minutes is how many seconds? So if I look at my diagram, I'm going from minutes to seconds because that's the direction my arrow is going. So I need to times by 60. So I'm doing 3 times 60. Now I've written down my 6 times tables at the bottom to help me. So I know it's 6, 12, 18. 3 times 6 is 18. But remember, it's 10 times bigger because it's by 60. So I know if I add a 0 on here, that is going to help me with my answers. So my answer, 3 minutes, is going to be 180 seconds. So in the next example, I don't know the minutes this time. I'm trying to find the minutes from 120 seconds. So I'm converting from seconds to minutes. So from seconds to minutes, I need to divide by 60. So how many groups of 60 are in 120? So my calculation I'm thinking in my head is 12 divided by 6. I know 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay, so that must be 2 minutes is equal to 120 seconds. So it can get a little bit confusing when we're thinking, do we need to divide or multiply? But remember, my minutes is always going to be the smaller number than the seconds, okay? Because there's more of the seconds. They are a smaller unit of measurement. Okay, number 3, I've got 7 minutes is something seconds. So I'm going from minutes to seconds. So what calculation am I going to be doing? Thinking in your head? I'm timesing by 60. Good. So 7 times 60. So it's a little bit tricky now. Let's use this to help me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you know your 6 times tables really well, you should know that's 42. Again, I'm going to pop my zeros on there to help me because it's my 60 times table. So my answer is going to be 420 seconds. Okay, final one with minutes and seconds. So this time again, I've got my minutes missing and I've got my seconds, there's 240. So remember, from seconds to minutes, I need to divide. So 240 divided by 60. So think about 24. How many 6s are there in 24? 24 divided by 6. Do that in your head. Okay, you've got 6, 12, 18, 24. So I can use this to help me as well. 240 seconds would be 4 minutes. Okay, so we're going to look at minutes and hours now. And again, it's exactly the same because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So I'm still using the same thing to help me. So I've got 2 hours is how many minutes? So remember, if I'm going from hours to minutes, I need to multiply. So 2 times 60, in your head, 2 times 60 is 120. Good. Okay, this time I've got my minutes. 240 minutes is how many hours? So 240 is my hours, my minutes, sorry, and I need to divide by 60 to find my hours. So again, I want you to think, how many 6s are there in 24? Let's see together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 hours, which is equal to 240 minutes. Well done if you're getting this with me. Okay, so next one is 8 hours. So you telling me this time, I want you to think, what calculation do I need to know? I'm going from hours to minutes. So use the diagram. What calculation am I going to be doing? Okay, hopefully you've recognised I'm going from hours to minutes. So it should be multiply by 60. So my calculation is 8 times 60. So I can use my times tables to help me again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 6 is 48. So 60 times 8 is 480 minutes. Okay, and finally, just one more example. So this time I've got my minutes, 180 minutes. I'm trying to find the hours. So my calculation is going to be what? So from minutes to hours, it's 180 divided by 60. So my calculation, think 18, you know your 6 times tables. How many hours is that going to be? So I'm going to use my help at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. So 180 minutes is equal to 1, 2, 3 hours. Okay. So your first task is to go away and have a go at converting the ones in the table that you've got. Now I'll leave this up on the screen, so if you want to pause, you've got these to help you as well, and you've also got the conversions here, so think about which direction the arrows are going. And when you're ready, make sure you've marked it, and then you can come back for the next section. Off you go. Okay, hopefully you've had a go at those. Make sure you've marked it and you're feeling confident before we move on to the next part. It's going to get a little bit trickier now. So the next task we're going to look at is what happens when we've not just got multiples of 6, but we've got, for example, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So there's 2 steps that we need to do in this case. So I'm going to pop the visualizer back on and we're going to go through some examples together. Okay, so we're going to look first when I've got a whole hour or minute, and then we've got a little bit left over. So my steps are to convert the whole hours or minutes first, and then we're going to add on the bit left over at the side, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do for this one, I have 1 hour, so I'm going to have to do 1 times 60 to find out how many minutes that is. So 1 times 60 is 60. So this is equal to 60 minutes, okay? So I've done my first step, and then I need to add on the remaining minutes. So it's not just 1 hour, it's 1 hour and 17 minutes. So I need to do 60 plus 17. Now, hopefully you'll be able to do that in your head, but when we get to the bigger numbers, you can do a calculation to help you work that out. I know 60 add 10 is 70, so that is 77. So 1 hour and 17 minutes is equal to 77 minutes in total. Okay, let's look at another example. So this time I've got 2 minutes and 37 seconds. So it's following exactly the same steps, whether it's hour or minutes or seconds. That's because both are equal with 60. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is convert my whole hours or minutes. So I've got 2 whole minutes. So I need to do 2 times 60, because there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So 2 times 60 is equal to, now I've wrote this down the side here to help me, so I know 1, 2, it's going to be 120. So you can also write this at home to help you as well. So I've done this part here, I know that that's 120. So now I need to look at the seconds that's left over. So I've got 37 seconds. So I need to add that on to 120. So 120 add 37. Now, again, I can probably do this one in my head because I've got a 0 on the end of this one, so I can regroup easily in my head. If you do need to write it out, you could do this as a calculation, just making sure that you're lining up your digits correctly, okay? So 120 add 30 is 150, so 157. So 2 minutes and 37 seconds is equal to 157 seconds altogether. Okay, let's do one more example of this one. So first step that I need to do is convert my whole hours. So 3 hours, think in your head what calculation I'm going to be doing. I need to do 3 times 60 first. Good, so 3 times 60, 6, 12, 18, or I can use this to help me, 1, 2, 3. So that is 180. Now I need to add on my remaining minutes. So I need to do 180 add 43. So adding on this here. So 180 add 43. Again, I could do this in my head, but there is some regrouping. So I'm just going to show you how you can make sure you're doing that accurately in your addition. So 0 add 3 is 3. 8 add 4 is 12. And 1 add 1 is 2. So that is equal to 223. So 3 hours and 40 minutes is 223 minutes in total. Okay, so that's quite straightforward on that one because I can convert quite easily using my times tables and I'm just adding on the remainder, but it gets a little bit trickier when we get on to this kind of question. So I've got 73 minutes this time and I want to change it into hours and minutes. So this time I'm going to have to divide by 60 to see how many whole minutes I've got there. So I've got my 6 times tables and my 60 times tables down here again to help me. So I need to find the closest group. So 73, I know 60 can only be divided into 73 one time. So there is only 1 minute in 73 minutes, 1 hour, sorry, in 73 minutes. And then I need to know how many minutes are left over. So I can do 73, take away that group, which is 60 minutes. So I need to do 73, take away 60. Now again, I can do that in my head. If you do need to do it like this, that is absolutely fine. But I know 73, take away 60 is 13. So 73 minutes is the same as 1 hour and 13 minutes. Okay, so my remainder is going in this bit here. Okay, let's look at a different example. So 134 seconds is how many minutes and seconds. So again, I need to divide by 60 to find out the whole number of minutes first. So I need to know how many groups of 60 I can fit into 34. So again, I'm going to count 60, 120, 180 is too much. So there are 2 whole minutes in 134 seconds. So I know there are 2 whole minutes. And that equaled 120. So I've done my first step. Now I need to find what the remainder is. So I can do this in my head. I'm going to subtract like I did before. So I'm going to do 134, because that's how many seconds I've started with, subtract 120. So again, you can do this as a calculation. Let's just do that together just to show you. Hopefully you can use a ruler at home. I do apologise, I don't have one right now. So 4 take away 0 is 4, 3 take away 2 is 1, and 1 take away 1 is 0. So that gives me 14 seconds left over. So that one goes in here. So 134 seconds is the same as 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Now let's look at one more example together. So this time I've got 342 minutes and I want to know how many hours and minutes that is. So again, looking at my steps, I need to divide by 60 to find the whole number of hours. So I'm going to count up as close as I can to 342 minutes on my steps here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's not going to be 6 because that's too big. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 whole hours and that takes me to 300. So the next step I need to do is find out my remainder. So 342, subtract 300, because that's the same as 5 hours, to find out how many minutes are left over. So again, I can do this in my head because I know that's a rounded number. So taking that away, I'm going to have 42 left over. But of course, if you need to do it as a calculation like this, you can, but do try and use your mental maths as much as you can. So I know that is 42 minutes left over. So 342 minutes is equal to 5 hours and 42 minutes, okay? So it does get a little bit trickier when we're doing it like this, but do use the steps of success to help you. Go back and watch the video again if you need to. So you're going to go away and do task 2 now. So you're converting minutes and seconds and then hours and minutes. Again, you've got this here to help you, or write it out in your book and make sure you're checking your answers as well. Once you've finished that, there are also some reasoning questions for you to have a go at as well. Okay, so have a lovely day, everybody. Please do go back in the video and watch it again if you need to, because it is really tricky time, but well done for all your hard work so far. Just a couple more lessons of time to go before we do our review. So I can't wait to see your work on Seesaw. Good luck.